Hey, hope you guys had a nice Thanksgiving. I know my last video was kind of short and not really my style, but just having fun. Basically, Thanksgiving is a great time, not in the sense of giving thanks or, having turkey and being with family. I'm talking about turkey trots, okay? Because any holiday run, especially like Thanksgiving, it seems like everybody partakes in it. Not just the fast runners or the elite runners, but also, people who just run for fun, walkers, families all go and do it, whatever. People who are in shape, people who are out of shape, has-beens, never wases, everyone in between. So when you go to these races, you see a lot of people that maybe you normally don't see, or at least you see them in greater number. And it got me thinking, about the term hobby jogger. A lot of you probably know what that means if you go on the Let's Run forums regularly. If not, let me give you a comparison. So every sport has a term used to describe, let's just say, the inferior athletes in a given sport. It's kind of a derogatory term. Some people might not take it that way, but that's the intention. When someone uses that term, they're usually talking about someone else that is slower than them and someone they, I guess, generally don't respect. And usually it's people that use it usually are people who are kind of elitists in the running community. Basically, every sport has it. So like in boxing, I watched the Rocky movies recently, went and did a marathon and watched them all again. Not running a marathon, but did a movie marathon. And they always use the term bum. So in boxing, I'm assuming that if they call you a bum, that means that you're, people don't think you're that special. But yeah, every sport has it. So hobby jogger, so many different definitions. Some people define hobby jogger as anyone slower than them. It's like, okay, if they're faster than me, they're legit. If they're slower than me, they suck ass. They're a hobby jogger. It's like, and I admittedly become imprisoned by that mentality very often. Not because I'm necessarily a bad person, but when you're competitive, your racing mentality is like you size up everybody immediately. Like on Thanksgiving when I did. And it's like if you've beaten someone already, you own them. You don't worry about them too much. You're only focused on the people you don't know that look fast, or someone you have raced that's beaten you, or someone who has a better PR but it's your first time racing them. People that you see as threats. You don't see hobby joggers as a threat. Okay. But let's get more into it, because that's the simplest term. Obviously, there are wider classifications that become a little more subjective. Now, you could say that a hobby jogger is anyone whose running is merely a hobby, like collecting stamps. It's something they do in their spare time, regardless of how fast they are. If they don't do it as a career, then they're a hobby jogger. So you could say anyone who's not a professional runner is a hobby jogger. Most people don't like that term, that definition. I don't like that definition. I'm not a hobby jogger. Shit. I don't feel like it. So let's expand that just a little bit within reason, okay? So you say, okay, people who are pro are getting paid to run, right? Well, couldn't you say that if you've ever gotten prize money in a race? For instance, in the turkey trot I just did, I did the 5 and 10K, won both back to back, and I got $125. And the race entry fee was $35 for both together, total. So I made $90 in less than an hour. You could say that's a pretty good profit. I mean, I can't do it consistently, but still, I got paid to run, basically. So you could say also people who are in college and they're getting paid, like their tuition or, their books, whatever. They're getting some kind of scholarship, some kind of incentive, monetary incentive to run. And they're running at that school because of the incentive. They could run anywhere, or they could not run for the team, but they're running for the team, making sacrifices because of that. Then you could say, okay, what about not just cash? What about gift cards? Gift cards are good too. I mean, I've been to races where people won, $100 gift cards. I mean, I think any award where the prize exceeds the cost of entry, that's a profit. You're profiting off your athletic ability. Now, let's not just focus on the prizes either. What about, some people probably get comped entry fees. For instance, I know of a marathon in California, I don't remember the name of it, but if you're under 250 for men, you get half off your entry fee because they want fast people to show up. And if you're under 240, you get 100% entry fee covered. I've had a couple races where I've gotten my entry fees covered just because they wanted me to show up. They were smaller races, but because I had won the previous year, they just wanted me to come back so they could promote it more. It was in small areas. I'm not like bragging or anything, but the point is, like, I'm sure some of you have had this experience too. I feel like that qualifies. Sponsorships, I mean, I guess you could throw that in there too. Although sometimes you get sponsorships that are not related to your abilities, but rather, well, not related to your athletic abilities, but rather your social media marketing abilities. So in that way, you could be slow, but if you're good at marketing yourself and you're, I don't know, a hot chick or something on Instagram and you run, I mean, technically you can make money off of that. So there's such a wide array of definitions. It's really hard. The lines get blurred sometimes. Who really is a hobby jogger? Let's focus on a different aspect. Let's focus on speed. Okay, so how fast you have to be to not be considered a hobby jogger. Everyone has different viewpoints on that. It's a lot of your opinions have to do with how fast you are, and thus it affects how you evaluate others. So for me, I consider anyone who runs, I don't know, you could say anyone who's faster than the world record race walker, which is a 1909 5K. So anyone who's under 19, you could see, okay, they're legit. But I mean, I don't want to, some people, let's say they were capable of running fast when they were younger, but now they're older. Should they be penalized? Let's say the passion is still there. They're just not, they don't have the same, spring chicken, ligaments and the body that they used to have. They're still trying. Or let's say people who have overcome a lot of hardship or lost a lot of weight or whatever, and they've improved immensely, and obviously they're committed. Are they still a hobby jogger? I mean, is time really involved? Is it really involved in this equation? You could just say, a lot of people argue that it's just passion versus fun. If you're running for passion, then it's not just competition with others, because even if you're slow, maybe you're competing with yourself, and you're just trying to improve upon your own times, your own PRs, and you have your own goals that you're doing, and you're using running to accomplish those goals. You're goal oriented. That's you're a runner. You consider yourself a real runner. Hobby jogger, you could say for fun. Maybe they're fast, but they don't care what they run. I know people like that are faster than me. They don't even care what their times are. Or people that take selfies during races or pose for the race photographer. I never pose, but could see that as just having fun. People who not only do running for fun, but only run when it's convenient. So, sometimes bad weather, busy schedule, whatever the case is, if you only run when you want to, I feel like at the core, that makes you a hobby jogger. But if you run when you have to, if you run because you need to, if you run because it's your lifestyle, it is who you are, and you can't imagine not running, every cell, every ounce of your being craves just the endorphin high you get when you run. Or you can't imagine a life or running is not a part of it. You know, I feel like if you make sacrifices in your daily life to get your workout in, you know, you're committed, you're motivated. You know, if you're running and you think of other things that motivate you, you know, Rocky, or you just think of the quotes like, oh, when I'm training, everyone else is sleeping or eating or whatever, you know, like if you have that kind of mentality, where you place this really high importance of running over other things in your life, I feel like that makes you a real runner. So now, instead of trying to think of ourselves as, you know, hot shit and putting down others, you know, let's all come together and think of a reason. I want you guys to post in the comments, whatever, a reason, one reason, even if you're a real runner, one thing, one aspect that makes you a hobby jogger, in your opinion. So I'll go first. I'll say that I am a hobby jogger because I wear a Fitbit.